my God. Lexy, so good to have you on Spark TV. Welcome.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
This is going to be good because for everyone listening in, we've already been gas bagging for like 15 minutes and we've only just met each other. So
Yeah.
going to be a good one.
Common ground. Yeah.
Exactly. So let's kick off by telling everyone who you are and what you do.
Amazing. So I'm Lexy McDonald. I'm 21 and I'm the founder of a mental health and wellness app called Her Help.
So good. Now, what does Her Help do? Because I read your grant application and I was like, oh my God. Yeah. So here's the thing. You just told me about like, oh my God, you're so impressed. What we're doing is so amazing. I'm like, no, what you are doing is so amazing. So let's tell everyone what Her Help actually is.
Thank you first off. That is so beautiful of you to say that. I think you're incredible. So Her Help is a mental health and wellness app designed to just encourage people through whatever daily challenges they have. Like life can be really hard. And I realized, leaving school that I was like, there's no handbook for life. Like what food should I be eating? Like how should I be moving my body? If my boyfriend cheats on me, like how do I navigate
How do we
that
deal with
well?
that?
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, how do we navigate a stressful day? And there's so many things and people are always saying, oh, just get help. And I was like, okay, but how? Like, where do I go? What do I do? So there was so many questions. So I was like, I just really wanted to create a place where people could go for connection as well as, help just through life.
So good. And because there's a whole bunch of different things, different resources like exercise and meditations and things to read. And like there's so much jam packed in there. It is so good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I was like, what does anyone like? And constantly evolving too. Like,
Mm.
I've been able to see people be like, oh, I would love fertility help. And I'm like, perfect. Let's put fertility
Done.
help
We'll
up
figure
on
that out.
psychologist. And let's like, yeah, I'm like, you tell me, it's always like, what is your problem? Because, for me at 21, fertility is not something that I've had to ever experience or struggle with as of yet. But I'm like, okay, but that's, it's not just my journey, it's everyone else's. So adapting to that's
Yes.
been really fun.
I love that so much. And how did you, so I think there's two sides of things here. Firstly, the tech piece, because it's an app. And then secondly, the content, because there's like so much content in there. So since we're on content, let's talk about that. How have you then got, okay, so take fertility as the example, and you haven't kind of personally experienced that. How have you gone about like creating all of these resources?
Yeah, great question. So I have over 100 experts on
Stress.
the app. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Because
cool.
obviously I
Yeah.
couldn't. Yeah, I'm not qualified. Like, Mum's like, you should do a workout video. I'm like, Mum, no one wants to see an unqualified, lanky, uncoordinated girl do like a workout. I'll just do it behind the scenes. So I knew very quickly that if I wanted to get help and I wanted to, give advice that it couldn't be me giving all that advice. So
Mm.
I was working, two part-time jobs to fund getting
Wow.
experts on board to, provide content for the app. So fertility, you go onto Instagram, you're like fertility coaches, or you go to clinics and you talk to people and be like, show me a qualification first. And then like, let's talk about how we can make this happen. Yeah.
That's so cool. And were people really open to like working with you like that? Or did you have to go through lots of people? Was it harder at the beginning, harder at the end? What's the vibe?
Yes. I don't think it gets easier. I think it's because we like at the start, I was very picky as well. Like
Yeah.
obviously if there's experts, then they're like a reflection of us as an app. So being able to be like, okay, like these are the people that I can kind of, you go through hundreds of Instagram profiles or websites to be like,
Mm.
okay, I like this person's values. These relate to kind of our vibe. And then even like having, interviews, phone calls and being like, okay, maybe not, like maybe this doesn't work. And then,
Yeah.
there's a huge process. I think now there's like, it's a different level now. So there's people that will reach out to me and be like, every day we get people being like, this is what I do. Like, I'd love to, put myself on the app. But there's still that huge vetting process of being like,
Mm.
okay, I love that you love our vision and that's so exciting and so amazing. But like, I've also got to make sure that you fit the
You're
vibe as well.
legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're
Totally.
not just me winging it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Oh, that's so cool. And then what about from like a tech point of view? So are you a closet software engineer or did you have someone else build it or what's the go?
Yes, great question. So I started Her Help 4 years ago. So I created the first version of Her Help in my bedroom at 17. So
Wow.
yeah, so I was just struggling growing up. I was bullied growing up, really struggled with that community as well. Like teenagers suck.
Mm.
Like teenage girls can be so mean. Yeah.
I don't know if we get any better, but
No,
anyway.
and then you grow up and you're like, oh, it's still the same clickiness. But
Mm.
I was like, like when you're going through something, sometimes all you need is that community around you to be like, hey, I've been through this, it's okay. And being from a small town in regional WA, sometimes the things that you're going through, other people aren't, especially in the
Mm.
entrepreneur tech space, as you kind of evolve into that. You're like, oh, where are other
Where are my
people?
people?
Yeah, where are the females? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was like, I'd love to connect people from all over the globe to things. Just be like, hey, like it's okay, like I get this, and
Yep.
create a community outside of maybe your geographical location, but as well
Mm.
just making help accessible. So I was there being like, okay, this is a cool idea. Like I'd love this. So hopped onto YouTube whilst procrastinating doing my exams and my year 12 exam study. And I was like, how do you make an app on YouTube? And then was like, okay, perfect. Let's follow these steps. And it took me 6 months, but I launched the first app on the App Store within 6 months.
You did it. You Googled it. How? Hold up. Hold up. So you're telling me you Googled how to build an app, you watched YouTube tutorials, you spent 6 months and you bloody launched it yourself?
Yeah. And I didn't tell
Oh
anyone I was
my
doing
God.
it because it was so bizarre. Like, I'm not a
Yeah.
techie person. Like, I have nerdy brothers, but I'm not a techie person at all.
Yeah.
So to kind of like even say to like my mom or dad, oh, I'm making an app, just sounded so ridiculous that I didn't want to say I was doing that until I could actually prove that I could. So
Yes.
within that 6 months, I got an app up. Like, the App Store sent me a message and we're like, congratulations, like your app will be on the App Store
Oh
within
my
24 hours.
God.
And I was like, oh my goodness, I've got to tell people now. Like
Yes,
17-year-old me being
totally.
like ringing Nana and ringing my best friends being like, oh,
Oh.
I've done this thing. Like, and then post it to Facebook. So yeah, it was very much a big learning journey at the start.
Oh, I'm just like so impressed because so often I hear people say, I've got this great idea, but it's going to cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars or, even tens of thousands or thousands of dollars to build an app. And I'm like, there's so many things you can do now, like off the shelf, like by, yes, it takes longer. Yes, it's really annoying because you've got to do it after your full-time job, in front of the TV while you're eating dinner, trying to code stuff. And yes, it's really hard, but I love that you can if you want to do it yourself.
I was gonna say that's like with everything, like as a business owner, especially when you're running the show on your own, like there's so many things like marketing. I'm not an expert in marketing. I could easily be like, oh, I don't know how to do that. Like that's not my department and I can't afford someone to pay to do that. Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
But we're so lucky to have access to the internet and there's thousands of people that have been in our position that have managed to work through that. And being able to tap into those resources is really powerful. And if you cared that much, and for me, I was like, I just want this so bad that like you search for hours and try to make something happen.
Oh my God, that is so awesome. How was that process for you? Like, did you love it? Did you hate it? Or were you just obsessed with getting it done?
Coding isn't my new passion at all.
Yeah.
Like definitely, probably I didn't love
I love it.
the actual coding part, but I loved watching something come together. Like I
Mm.
love watching slowly but surely me being like, oh, let's add in this little part. Okay, and then let's do this little bit. And being able to create something that I just envisioned in my head to then be a reality, that was really cool.
That is so cool. I love that. For my other business, Scrunch, we're launching this new membership feature and it has like this forum in it and I'm DIYing this forum. And it's so funny because I was sitting there last night, like just, Googling it and, like doing free trials of all these things. I was like, oh, I remember this like excitement that you have when you're doing something new and you don't have any idea what you're doing and you're learning and you're trying to put all the puzzle pieces together. There's something wrong with us business owner entrepreneur types that we just love that.
Yeah, love the unknown. And then there's that, like, those are the great days. And then you have days where you're like, I just don't know why.
I give up. I quit.
Yeah. So it's a roller coaster, but those highs are definitely worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so fast forward 6 months, we've got an app. It's live in the App Store. So then what's the process then? What did you do?
I literally posted it just to Facebook. I was like, okay, cool. Like, let's tell my friends and family. Like, I'm literally only friends with my friends and family on Facebook and just kind of posted it. And because no one knew that's what I was doing, I think that was such a shock that like, I feel like school's really cool because you're around 200 kids your age anyway that kind of are following. Like, I couldn't imagine the same response if I was to launch it now outside of school because like they're all off doing their own thing, but kind of being in that environment really helped because all my friends and like people I went to school with like were sharing it and being like, what the heck? Like, what are you doing? Like, I didn't know you were doing this. And then, that skyrocketed and had a really cool, very unexpected launch. Like by 3 o'clock on launch day, I was at my local radio station giving like an interview about the app and just like,
Oh, wow.
right. And that was like so far out of anything. Like I'm very, was a very shy person, loved just, so kind of then being like, stepping outside of that comfort zone was crazy. And the uptake on that was insane. So within 6 months after launch, I had 10,000 people using the app, which was
What?
just really cool. Yeah.
Oh my God, that is incredible. That is so incredible. And so posting it on Facebook, tapping into your communities, obviously getting radio. Any other strategies you used to get so many downloads and users in such a short period?
Yeah, so it wasn't obviously just that one day. Like
Yep.
there was definitely a huge follow-up. There was lots of, me posting all the time. And I think just being really authentic with my story. Like I was a 17-year-old that was sat in her room just being like, this is my vision and this is my dream and this is why it's an issue. And I think even now when you're looking at marketing, it's very important to tap into like relating to someone and being real. Like you're not just this brand. Like there's a story and there's a passion behind what it is, and tapping into that has obviously helped me push through that.
That is so good. And have you since jumped on like Instagram and TikTok and all of the things?
Yeah. And it's a constant journey, right? Like there's things that you go, oh, this will do so well. And then you're like, oh, it's got 200 views. And then you go, oh, this won't. And then it gets, more. And it's this weird world to navigate, that's for sure.
I know marketing's insane. It's just like we all think we're experts and we're, trying to do all the things. And then it's just like, wow, I have no idea why that thing worked.
Yeah. Yeah. That doesn't relate to anything. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no.
It's not a part of the strategy. Yeah.
No, exactly. But I think that's like business in general. You've just got to try things. You've just got to be willing to, jump on a TikTok idea or go to do a radio interview or do this or do that. You've just got to constantly be doing things and testing things to try and figure out what the formula is or what works for your business.
Yeah, I love that. So important. Yeah. And so many different ways. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and there are, and that's kind of the thing too. I sometimes find people come to me and they're like, I'm not getting any new sales. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, well, what have you tried? And they're like, well, I post on Instagram every day. I'm like, well, there is so much other stuff out there that you could be doing.
Yes.
So it's so funny. We live in this like Instagram world where I feel like people think that's the only sales strategy, but there's just so much out there. It's crazy.
So much. And I think people can get really disheartened by like the success of other, like you'll watch someone just get like, especially on TikTok, I'm on like small business TikTok, and the amount of girls are like, wow, this like one TikTok blew up and changed my life. And then you create the same and it's like, oh, like that didn't do anything for me.
Why didn't my life change?
Yeah, I don't feel like anything's changing. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have $1 billion in my bank. Where did I go wrong?
Yeah, why is this not work for me? So I think when you're seeing like this glamorized idea of like, virality of, social media, it can be really easy to be like, oh, well, why aren't I there? And a lot of the time it's that slow building blocks that lead to that rather than that one video.
It's so true. It's like, and that is kind of the thing. We see the headlines, like even to like, I raised $10 million worth of venture capital, or my TikTok went viral, or we just see the headlines and like the outcomes, but it's like, we don't actually see the 10 years of work that might have gone into
day-to-day of,
all the boring stuff, like
for that one
in
moment
front of your iPhone dancing,
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
so
I relate to that.
So have there been over this journey, have there been any big learning curves? So anything that you didn't expect to come up running a business?
Of course.
Like, no, it's been smooth sailing.
Or do you want like huge ones? Like
give me some huge ones.
Yeah, my huge ones. Well, one of the biggest, and maybe the one that I reference most, is that so 17, I got 10,000 users within that 6 months. I had 5 girls messaging me telling me they wouldn't be alive without the platform. It had helped them that much.
Oh my God.
Right, which is crazy for a 17-year-old to like get a message like that. from someone that they don't know. Like it was, and I was like, okay, there's a need for this. Like I need
Yes.
to make this better and
Oh,
everything I
yeah.
want it to be. So obviously the app that I made in my bedroom was basic. Like it wasn't, you know, Facebook. You go into this, like you said, when you have a business idea, you're like, this is exactly what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And the first product launch, the MVP, was a very compromised version of that. It was like not anything like I imagined it, but it was the function, and you know, clearly it had, you know, it's the meaning behind it that had that reach. So I was like, I need to make this then what I want it to be. Like, what's the next step? Is I want to make an app that I'm really proud of. So when I'm, you know, screaming it from the rooftops, it's something that people go on and go, oh, this is a great idea, but like very basic. Like they can go, oh, I actually really love this app. So that was like a huge business thing to be like, okay, like let's make an app I'm really proud of. So I designed screen by screen, button by button, when I finished school, exactly how I wanted the new app to look, like fully sorted, and sent it to an app development company here in Perth and got quoted $2.2 million to create the app I wanted.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's
insane.
insane.
That was my reaction. And you know, the first thing is I was working at a fish and chip shop part-time at the time, and I was like, great,
It will only take me 100 years to be able
I
to
was like
do
doing the
this.
math. I was like surveying mum and dad. I was like, so like how long do you think it would take you to say, like, you know, doing the bank loan, like your Bank West, like the business loan estimator? It's like, I earn, you know, $30 a day. How much? Yeah. How long will it take me? Yes. So that was a huge, And along the journey, there's all different things that, push you in directions and go, what am I doing? Like, this is too hard.
Totally, totally. Because there's, I guess, like not only the outward, like customer facing app and all of the content and like, you know, the customers that you're actually helping, but then there's like the back end, like the running a business as well, that presents plenty of challenges, I'm sure, as well.
Totally. Yes. Even like
How,
no one teaches you about insurance or tax or lawyers or things like
why
that.
not? Why don't we know about this stuff? I
Why
know.
don't we know about this? And especially in the mental health space, like everyone's like, oh, make sure. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, obviously,
Yeah.
very aware now, but like at 17, like you don't think about things like that. So,
Well, no, I guess you think I'm doing a good thing for people. Like I'm putting
Totally.
stuff out there to try and help people. You kind of don't think
Yeah.
of, yeah, wow.
Things
So
that go wrong.
how did you educate yourself? How did you go from fish and chip shop to empire builder?
Yeah. Thank you. I love that title. That should be in my bio. No.
You can steal that.
And now quoted empire builder. Yeah. I guess I just had like a problem that I wanted to be solved. I didn't even know what the word entrepreneur was, being a 17-year-old, and still like innovation, like, you know, that's a title that gets thrown, you know, entrepreneur, innovation, like the two. I'm like, I didn't even know what those words meant. They were huge words. No one teaches you about that at school. So it wasn't necessarily me going into it being like, I'm going to build an empire. Like my first thing was like, I know what it's like to struggle. And if this, you know, if my 6 months of work can help one person, like that's incredible. And that's all I want. And then being able to see that other people resonated with that story too, then I was like, okay, like let's start building an empire. Like, you know, let's make this happen. Like let's push for something so that more people can get help. But the app wasn't like, I didn't earn anything or didn't have a capacity to earn money for the first 2 years of it being a thing, because it was just a help thing. It was just because I cared so much. Yeah.
Oh my God, that is so good. And so have you monetized it now? Do you have a paid version of it?
Yeah, so there's the app now has like a subscription, so you can go on for free and still exactly the same as the basic app, like all the social networking free, the community is free, like all the mental health, like we have cool people like anxiety therapists and like all these cool people, they're all free, like just to make sure that, you know, people can get the support they need. I don't want to put, you know, but things like, you know, your recipes or your fitness videos or your yoga or like a financial education, like that just comes under a $10 a month subscription. So still hopefully really accessible and affordable, cheapest on the market, and for so much more than anything else. But you have conversations where people are like, okay, Lex, like are you going to keep this sustainable or are you going to work at the fish and chip shop forever? So you kind of go, okay, like,
I'll
yeah.
introduce some paid. Yeah. But it's so good. I love how it's like so well rounded. So, you know, yes, there might be people who maybe can't afford to pay for something, but there are resources for them and that is covered. And then for people who are like, okay, I can kind of level up a little bit. I can, you know, if I'm paying for Netflix, I can also pay to look after myself, you know, like it makes a lot of sense.
Totally. Yes. And it's just, it makes it accessible. Like the amount of conversations I have with so many people being like, it's either me sitting here just stressed out of my brain, you know, not sure what I'm doing, or it's, you know, paying $300 for a therapy session or speaking to someone and that's terrifying. And, you know, having that little bridge in between to be like, okay, like you are alone, but there's something you can do here to encourage you to get further support, I think is really important.
Totally. I love actually looking at it from that perspective. Like, okay, here's doing nothing. Here's doing something crazy that you may not be able to afford or might be too far out of your reach right now. Like, I love that idea of it's a bridge, like smaller things that you can incorporate into your life. That's so
Yeah.
clever. You're so
In
clever.
one spot. No, because I just got told like, oh, just do, you know, there's so many things that can improve your mental health. And it's like, oh, but can they all be just in one place? Like, I don't want to
Totally.
like, it's so, and it gets expensive if you're going to work at class and then, you know, you're trying to find healthy recipes and you're paying for, you know, a subscription for that. It just adds up very quickly. So yeah, I get
That
it.
is so cool. No,
Yeah.
I love it. And, you know, in our day and age where we're all trying to save our pennies, you know, having one place where we can go for all of those things is genius. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
So good. Well, I feel like you and I would talk all day if we let ourselves. So why don't we leave our amazing smart, oh my God, I need another coffee. Our amazing Spark Women in Business community with one last piece of advice. So as a female business owner, if you were giving someone who is just starting out a piece of advice, what would it be?
Oh, I love this question. I usually say like your age doesn't determine your ability to do anything, but
Love
that's coming
that.
from very young stance. But that can also be determined with, you know, any age. Like I speak to dad and dad goes, oh, I don't know if I could do that. You know, it's like, of course you can. Like, doesn't matter if you're so progressed in your career and you're like, oh, this is something I really want to do. Like the only person that truly is stopping you is you. And there's always going to be hurdles and there's always going to be things in the way. But if you care enough, you can make it happen.
Oh my God, Lexi, I love you. You are literally the best. Thank you so much for being on Spark TV and sharing your journey with the Spark community. You're incredible. You should be so proud of what you've built.
Oh, thank you for having me. It was an honor to be a part of this.